Kolinsky sable or synthetic? We tested 7 brands and I'll tell you which one is right for you based on your skill level and your budget. I'm Alejandro Way and I paint miniatures and create painting guides explaining the process. But today I want to talk about brushes since they are our main tool for painting miniatures. We'll look at bristle types, compare brands like Artis Opus, Winsor and Newton, Rosemary, Green Stuff, Abteilung and Golden Maple with their pros, cons and prices, and I'll tell you what to buy based on your skill level. Before we talk about bristle types, let's understand how a brush is made. The tip, it should form a sharp point and hold it. It defines the detail. Length, shorter means more control. Longer means longer strokes and better flow. The body or belly determines how much paint it holds. A larger belly means more stability for thin layers. The ferrule, it holds the bristles in place. If paint gets inside, the tip will split. The handle. For miniatures, it's better if it's shorter. The snap or spring, meaning how quickly the bristles return to their shape. More snap means cleaner lines. And be careful, sizes 0, 1 or 2 are not standardized between brands. Most brush brands differentiate between miniature and round, but that doesn't mean that miniature brushes are the only ones that work for miniatures. Round brushes have longer bristles, a larger belly, and hold more paint. It's better as an all-purpose brush. Miniature or spotter brushes have shorter bristles and therefore more control. Ideal for micro details, edge highlighting, and freehand, but you need to reload them sooner. Let's compare Kolinsky sable brushes with synthetic ones based on what really matters for miniature painting: the tip, paint load, control, durability, and price. Kolinsky. Natural hair with a taper, meaning it's conical, with fine bristles and a generous belly. This provides a reliable point and high capillarity. You can paint longer distances between reloads, meaning thinner layers and seamless transitions. The snap is balanced. It's responsive without being too twitchy. Synthetic PBT fibers made of Taclon or Toray material. It has a snappier response, meaning it springs back faster, which can be good for edge highlighting or freehand lines. But it holds less paint and the flow is more sudden. This means it's better to work with less dilution or to reload more often. Practical durability. A well cared for Kolinsky lasts longer and holds its tip better. However, it hates hot water and solvents. A synthetic brush handles abuse better, meaning metallics, inks, textures, although the tip can snag and curl sooner. Price and ethics. Kolinsky is more expensive and has variable availability, while synthetic is cheaper and also vegan for those who prefer it. What to use and when? For thin layers, places, blends, and control details, use a size 1 or 2 Kolinsky brush. For metallics, highly pigmented inks, textures, and varnishes, use a workhorse synthetic brush. Freehand and edge highlighting, both will work for this purpose. A Kolinsky will offer you a constant flow, while a synthetic one will provide more snap. Large washes, the best thing is to use a brush with a belly. It can be a Kolinsky size 2 or larger, or a large synthetic brush. For dry brushing, always use a synthetic brush or a specific dry brush. Never use Kolinsky brushes. Quick myth. Synthetics are useless. That's a lie, they're ideal for harsh techniques. Kolinsky can handle solvents. Wrong, it shortens their life. Smaller equals more precise. Wrong. A size 1 or 2 brush with a belly paints with more control and finer detail. Use the 80-20 Pareto rule. For 70 to 80% of your work, use a Kolinsky brush. And for those parts that require a more aggressive brush, the synthetic one. If you're going to have only one all-terrain brush, I recommend you use the round range more than the miniature one because it will hold more paint. Comparison by brands. Artis Opus Series S. Premium Kolinsky brushes. The pros are excellent tip, premium feel, and great durability. Cons, high priced. Who is it for? For an intermediate or advanced painter or a display painter. Winsor Newton Series 7. Either miniature or round. The pros are standard control and tip and high consistency. As for cons, the miniatures retain less. And besides, the prices are still high. Who do I recommend it for? Likewise, for intermediate or advanced painters or those who want to have an all-terrain round brush. Rosemary Co Series 33. For me, they are great brushes in terms of value for money. Pros, great tip and belly for the price. Very popular for miniature painting. The cons, some variation between batches. A bit of what happens to all brands. Who do I recommend it for? From demanding beginners through intermediate and even advanced. It's a bit of a workhorse. Green Stuff World, Silver and Gold series. Mixed and synthetic depending on the range. The pros are that they have contained prices, varied sets, and are good to use and abuse, metallics, textures, etc. etc. Cons, irregular consistency between units, and besides they have less belly and less load. They are designed for not very demanding beginners and for fast tabletop. Abteilung 502, an economical Kolinsky. Pros, a good tip and a good balance of value and performance. Cons, a step below Artis Opus or Winsor Newton in absolute fineness. Who is it for? For those who want a Kolinsky brush at an affordable price? Golden Maple. Entry-level brushes with a great quality to price ratio. Pros, very economical, they come in large sets and are ideal for starting out and practicing any technique. Cons, quality can vary between units and some tips might be faulty. Who are they for? Well, for most beginners who want to practice and not spend too much money to get quality brushes without being afraid of ruining them due to their low price. By the way, if you want a discount on Golden Maple, use the code I'm leaving in the description. So what should you choose based on your level? Beginner? If you're a beginner on a tight budget, I'd go for Golden Maple, or as an alternative, Rosemary if you have a bit more to spend. And I would also add a synthetic brush for metallics and other things where the brush will take more of a beating. For an intermediate, all-around level, my selection would be a Winsor Newton Series 7, round model, size 1, for more control and precision. And on top of that, I'd add a size 2 Rosemary for base coats. Additionally, as we've mentioned before, I'd add a synthetic one for metallics, textures, and for general rough treatment of the brush. Advanced or display. Here I'd choose Artis Opus Series S, sizes 1 and 2. Additionally, I'd add a size 0 from Winsor & Newton for the finest details. And finally, a dry brush from the Artis Opus Series D. And for those who are tabletop painters who just want to paint in bulk without caring too much about getting an optimal result, I'd recommend Green Stuff for its balance between cost and performance. Now let's rank them by category. Absolute quality, Artis Opus Series S and Winsor & Newton Series 7. Versatility, Winsor & Newton Round Series 7 and Rosemary 33. Value for money, Golden Maple, Rosemary 33 and Abteilung 502. And for tabletop and abuse, well, synthetics from Green Stuff World, Citadel and so on. And now I'm going to give you some advice and tips for maintenance. Clean with brush soap. Don't dip it all the way to the ferrule. Reserve synthetic brushes for metallics and aggressive inks. Always store them with the cap on. And try to always store them horizontally to extend their life. What brushes have worked best for you? Let me know in the comments. I'll leave the Golden Maple discount code in the description and the link to the ranges I mentioned, along with the list for each skill level. If you found this helpful, subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.